Government spending on these types of projects isn't just related to infrastructure. From drones flying overhead to first responders deploying teams to deal with chemical spills, virtually all of it, especially in the United States, traces back to companies and contractors. CCTV's Jim Spellman has insight into a rarely seen industry and its cutting-edge technology.
It's called GovSec, an annual trade show in Washington, D.C., where thousands of first responders come to see the latest and greatest technology for dealing with emergency situations.
This is Black Beauty. This is our tactical command vehicle.
Clay Binford is Vice President of Nomad Global Communication Solutions.
In the decade since 9/11, I would say the biggest thing is we saw an influx of money coming into the system as a whole, but over time, as the government has started to look at just where they can save money, there's been always the question of, can you do more with less?
That means smaller, more nimble equipment that can address a number of needs, not just large-scale terrorist attacks.
Looks like a basic cop car up here, but what's going on back here?
So this is the command and control suite back here. So this is where you're going to find all of your communications capabilities. It's a 4-person collaborative workstation environment,
allowing commanders to operate in the field with full communications capabilities, just like much larger command vehicles. Police in Boston used Nomad's trucks to coordinate response after last year's marathon bombings. Evolving technologies mean more options. All its capabilities can be controlled from a smartphone. Raise and lower the satellite dish, move the camera, and monitor video streams and information anywhere a mobile signal is available. How things are made is changing too. 3D printing is a fast evolving technology that allows things, all sorts of things, to be made in a machine like this. Carlton McFadden is with Anvil Prototypes and Design.
So let's take a look at some of the things. This is an intricate model of parts of
New York City.
3D, the colors go print right out onto it?
That's right.
Items like this can also be scanned into a computer and reproduced out of plastic or other materials.
Plastic is the most prevalent, but there's also things like metal 3D printing. So this is actually stainless steel.
It's not only gear first responders need, there is also a growing emphasis on training. Chris Koester is a firefighter who created Priority One Safety 11 years ago. The company trains first responders on how to react to hazardous materials situations. He agrees to give me a little training.
I have the breathing air tank on my back. I'm getting the suit on. Next step is a mask.
If you're actually responding to an emergency, the adrenaline would be going on, the environment may be degrading already. I can see how it would be really essential to have the proper training, know what you're doing, be able to do it as second nature.
Absolutely, and that's where the value and importance of training is.
My mission, enter this tent and cut off the flow of dangerous chemicals.
This smoke-filled tent simulates what an emergency response worker might face inside a facility like a chemical factory that was having an emergency incident. My mission is to close these 2 valves.
I succeed with this modest task, and it's clear the training first responders go through is essential when responding to a real hazardous situation. The threats and dangers aren't always so obvious. John Howell of DSA Detection is a former United States Marine bomb tech. His company makes materials that will look just like the real thing when examined by X-ray machines.
So our kits come in 3 categories of threats: guns, knives, and bombs. It's typically what a screener is going to be looking for at a checkpoint, the worst of those being the explosive device.
The devices are used to train people at checkpoints operating X-ray machines. Sometimes the threat is clear.
So, gun?
Gun, exactly.
But sometimes the threat is well disguised, like this simulated bomb in a printer cartridge.
This is the actual X-ray image of a normal printer cartridge, and this is the actual device itself.
A bomb in a boombox like this brought down Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland, and a bomb just like this, built into a small pressure cooker, was used in the Boston bombings. The key to finding them all? Knowing what you were looking for.
So in the Marine Corps we had a saying, train like you're going to fight. So with these training aids, you can actually train very realistically because they respond just like the real thing in the screening equipment.
Jim Spellman joins us now to talk more about all this technology. It's very overwhelming, but first let's talk about that hazardous materials training that you went through?
Obviously, just a small taste of what real first responders deal with all the time. And you know, whether it's this mining disaster in Turkey, a typhoon in Asia, a terrorist attack here in the United States, these first responders are rushing into these scenes where everybody else is rushing away. They have to rely on that training. It has to be second nature. And when you're dealing with complex gear, these outfits, things like that, it requires even more ability to be able to just put it on and go to work in really complex situations.
You showed us that metal object, and it was a result of 3D printing. Pretty scary stuff, because it's not paper.
No, take a look at this. This was something that that company made today. It's made with a sort of a plastic rosin. This is just a cell phone case. Nothing particularly special about this. But with this same material, you can make almost anything, including a gun, a weapon, a knife, potentially a gun that could get through security because it's not made of metal. This is a big technology. In a few years, I think that everybody will be talking about 3D printing. Police want to know how they can stop potential threats created by this powerful tool.
I mean, it's plastic. It's a cell phone case. Pretty flimsy.
All you have to do is download a computer file, like essentially a file you may get on Word or some simple computer program, put it into the machine, and it will make that for you.
We also saw that huge, or maybe not so huge, vehicle in your story, the one they call Black Beauty. It has so many different things it can do. Can you talk about some of the highlights?
Well, the thing that really grabbed me is how much it is integrated with our cell phones. This technology didn't exist 10, 12 years ago where everybody had an iPhone. So they want to leverage that. They want a police officer 3 blocks away, 3 miles away, or say across the country who's working on this an investigation to be able to tap into the intelligence coming through that truck, downlinked by its satellite dish or from its camera. So they use cell phones. That creates, though, the possibility that they can be hacked. There's a flip side to each one of these things. So some of the stuff that is less visual to see that we saw a lot of during this this event was cyber technology to protect all of this infrastructure. The more we expose ourselves and take advantage of the great virtues of all of these machines, the more we open ourselves up.
All right, Jim Spellman, thanks for that very cool stuff.